book can take you anywhere. Turn the pages and you'll be there. Come on, join us, you'll see. We're reading with Carylee.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another Read with Carylee. I am your host, Carylee, and today we have another terrific author. But before we get to her, let's make sure we do some housekeeping. Let's make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring that bell. You do not want to miss any of the authors that we have coming by. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you to another author friend of mine, Dr. Evona Smith.
Good afternoon, Carylee. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, and I'm so glad that you are here. And the book that you have is a very special book. It's helped to take some of our anxiety, that's a big word, friends, and help to calm some of our friends during the last year or so that we've been living through this pandemic.
Absolutely. The name of okay.
But before you go into that, we know we have authors from all across the United States, and there may be some children that are living just close by you. So can you tell us where you are reading to us from?
Sure. I am reading from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, Orleans. I love to hear people talk about New Orleans, and that is one place that when all of this is over, I would love to come and visit.
Great.
And I believe you are our first author from Louisiana. So
wow.
Yes, we have another pin to put in our map of the United States.
Wonderful.
So, without further ado, I want to introduce the book. It is Sophie's Pandemic World. Now, we know the entire world, it's not just us in the United States that have been going through this pandemic, but it is the entire world. And I would love to hear more about Sophie and how she has navigated this pandemic. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. Evona Smith, with Sophie's Pandemic World.
Thank you. So today I'm going to read Sophia's Pandemic World, written by myself. It is a short story to assist children to cope in a pandemic. Sophia awoke one day, surprised that the world she once knew had gone away. She wanted to go outside, play with her friends, and ride her bike. But things had changed since she slept that night. There was a viral pandemic in the atmosphere. Sophia was hoping this was not as it appeared. Schools and shopping malls were closed, and she could not play with her best friend, Rose. The government had ordered everyone to stay at home. How sad was Sophia that she was not free to roam. Her parents turned the TV on, and there was so much death. The news updates were scary, and she thought there would be no one left. Sophia was very afraid. Would she lose her mother, her father, her sister, or her brother? Or would she get sick and never recover? Sophia became so overwhelmed that she had no hope. She didn't know how to tell her parents that she could not cope. Sophia decided she would not leave her room again. She was sad and angry because the pandemic separated her from her friends. Sophia's mom sensed that she was having trouble, so she rushed to her room on the double. "What's wrong, Sophia?" her mom asked. Sophia answered, "I'm feeling so sad. I want my life back with school, family gatherings, and playing with my friends. I'm wondering if this pandemic will ever end." Sophia's mom responded with a warm smile. "Relax, my child. This will only last for a little while. And though it might seem strange, this pandemic will only require a change. Come, let me show you what we must do. You could go outside and play with your dog Blue." Sophia jumped out of the bed, excited in anticipation to see what was ahead. Her mom walked her to the sink, and Sophia thought they were getting something to drink. Sophia's mom looked at her and said, "No need to be afraid. We will soon return to our normal lives. We must follow simple instructions from the experts in the medical field. Now, Sophia, let's make a deal. Always wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds at a time. This gets rid of the dirt and the grime. If you can't get to running water, be even the wiser and use hand sanitizer. Please avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth as much as you can with unwashed hands. When you cough or sneeze, cover your nose and mouth with a tissue or the inside of your elbow. Otherwise, the numbers of those who have the virus will grow. Stay away from people who are ill. This virus is real. Some people don't have symptoms and they can still get you sick. So put distance between yourself and others when you're out in public. Stay at least 6 feet apart from others when you are ready to roam. And wash your hands again when you return home. I have a cloth face mask for you, but children shouldn't wear them if they are under 2. Everyone should wear a cloth face cover when they go out in public because you can spread the virus even if you don't feel sick. We must clean and disinfect surfaces that we touch a lot. This includes doorknobs, light switches, handles, and countertops. My dear daughter, if we follow these instructions, we can still enjoy life without disruptions. You can go outside and ride your bike, or you could even fly a kite. You could read a good book, or we could go fishing near a brook. You could run a race with your brother, or you could build a fort with your covers. There are so many things that we can do and remain safe. One thing that I promise, my daughter, is that you won't go through this alone. Let's discover this new way of living together and see what the future holds. The beginning.
With Carylee.
Now, I love how you ended the book with saying the beginning, because of
Yes.
course, this is the beginning of a brand new world, that our friends are adjusting to. And I liked that, you put all of the things in the book that to help us to be able to cope with everything. Because really, like Sophia, I wanted to stay under the covers as well, and hope
Yes.
that this would have been gone in a couple weeks or a couple months. But as we see now, it's been over a year.
Yes. Yes.
So, what really prompted you to write the book?
So at the beginning of the pandemic, I saw that how it was affecting my children.
Oh,
Their whole way of living had changed. They could no longer attend school in person. They couldn't participate in sports and different activities that they were involved in. And I saw some sadness or even depression, affect my kids. So this is what prompted me to write a book to teach children how to take precautions and little things that they can still do and still enjoy life as children.
yes, absolutely. And you know, um, as we stated and as you said, that this is the beginning of a new way of life. And
Yes.
there are, I think our friends and the kids are so resilient that they've been able to um, even some go back to school. And
Mhm.
even just with wearing the face mask, I know my sons went back to school in late February, and I was amazed at the fact that, I would drop them off at school and give them their mask, and they would come back in the car and they were wearing the same mask. I was surprised at that. And I would have to say, well, you can take your mask off now, So they've gotten used to it, and it's just really a new way of life for
Yes.
for us. So, are there any other books that you have written or are thinking of to be able to help children cope with different situations?
Yes. Yes. Actually, Sophia has a coloring book to
Oh,
accompany the book. So I've also published, and this is the coloring book, if you can see it.
yeah.
It has the illustrations and not as many words, but it has the illustrations, specifically the ones that help to teach the children how to take precautions. So it's a fun way to learn how to wash your hands in 20 seconds and, to learn the precautions and color at the same time. So Sophia has a coloring book. I also have another book, and the name of that book is Breathe. And it's
Okay.
about a little boy, and it's to help children to cope with social injustice. So that's
Okay.
like a hard conversation to have with kids when they see some things going on the news. So I created a book with a dialogue between a father and a son. And it's an empowering book. And he tells him basically, yes, these things are going on, but you don't have to be a stereotype, and you can be anything that you want to be. And it has a lot of Black history in the book also.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you are writing these books to help children to cope. So, were there any books that helped you to cope with certain situations when you were growing up?
Oh, absolutely. I'm trying to think of one because I love to read. And since I was a kid, I loved reading books. Let me see. I would probably say, and I wouldn't say that this book helped me to cope, but it gave me an escape.
Okay.
Where with reading, it gives you get into a different world. So sometimes when I was going through things as a kid, and specifically as like an adolescent or preteen, I would read the Nancy Drew books. Nancy Drew had mystery books where she was solving all these different mysteries. So that helped me to cope in that it gave me an escape to a different place when I was dealing with different things, and I would just get into the story. And it also helped me to think in a different way as a writer, different ways that I could reach the readers, specifically children. So the Nancy Drew books were probably my favorite growing up.
Absolutely, I can relate with that. I have the entire Nancy Drew set that was actually passed down to me from my older sister.
Mhm.
But yes, absolutely, Nancy Drew was one of my favorites growing up as well.
Mhm.
So, and it did really get you to think, and
Yes.
I love mysteries, and still till today, I love mysteries, and I've gotten a little bit, even though I have children's books all around me, I've grown a little bit in my mystery reading.
Right.
So I still love, but I do still love mysteries. So
Mhm.
thank you, Dr. Evona Smith, for coming and joining us here at Read with Carylee, and to help us cope with this new and changing world.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
Yeah, absolutely. And friends, thank you for joining us today for another Read with Carylee, where we have authors that are caring for you and writing books to help you be able to navigate the world. So thank you again, and make sure you join us next week for a new author from maybe down your street. As always, we want you to remember to grab a book and read. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Carylee.
Thanks for watching another amazing episode of the Read with Carylee Show. We have amazing authors coming by every week. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. You don't want to miss a thing.